Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for round 14 for the Italian Grand Prix. If you guys missed round 13 for the Belgian Grand Prix, then go watch it guys. It was a fantastic race around one of my favourite tracks at Spa. And go watch the episode guys by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of your screen, clicking the card annotation above to go watch that before we jump into any spoilers in this episode, because this race I can guarantee is going to be explosive and I can't wait to jump into it. So here we are then at Monza. You can see on screen we have some rain expected for the race tomorrow, but generally a relatively dry weekend. In terms of upgrades though, we do have a minor aerodynamic upgrade, also a minor chassis one, and unfortunately a minor engine one did fail on us for this one, which is ironic because this is a power circuit, and out of all the three I would have liked to have had the engine upgrade, but still it's not all doom and gloom because those two upgrades are going to mean we have a little bit of separation and a little bit of daylight between ourselves and Toro Rosso now, because we recently overtook them and we're no longer the slowest car on the grid now, and there's actually a little bit of a gap now between us and Toro Rosso. We're actually close the gap a little bit more to Alfa as well, as Mercedes and Red Bull bring upgrades, and Ferrari surprisingly bring no upgrades at all to their home race. But for this one we're here at Monza, and once again we are running 110% AI difficulty just like the last few races, and overall I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, and it's one of those tracks that is an opportunity. You don't really see those too often, but this track is a big opportunity, because as long as you strip away the aero and you can find pace running low aero and having good straight line speed, as long as you run in the slipstream, you've got a chance in this race, even with the worst car on the grid. So it's a big chance for us to score some points, I think, this weekend. And this track does suit the car a lot more than it did a few races ago, because the car is actually pretty good for straight line speed. I looked at the car in the speed traps after practice, and it was actually pretty damn good. I stripped away a lot of the aero on the car, admittedly, but that sacrifice was worth it because we was holding up quite well in the speed trap. So overall, very encouraging signs. Meanwhile, after practice, we hit most of our practice programs. I was quite happy with that one. And the good news is we've actually hit our team goal of 8 practice programs over 2 race weekends. So we're going to have an extra 600 points to spend at the end of this episode, guys. And hopefully we can invest that heavily into the Singapore upgrade package, because for Singapore, I've heard rumours there could be an R&D regulation reset. So we've got one eye on that. And my plan was, around Singapore to actually focus on next season anyway. So the upgrades we do in this episode may be the last performance upgrades you may see on the car all season long, and we're going to focus on other parts of the car for the rest of the season. But either way, let's look at the qualifying. And in Q1 we went for 2 runs, and my first run was far from ideal. Straight away you can see here we got blocked off by Hamilton in turn 1. I had to go very down the brakes, which caused me to trail brake and basically broke the rear end of my car, so I was drifting into the corner. But Hamilton still for some reason broke super late and managed to have contact with me, and that kind of got me a little bit flustered, a little bit angry, and I was driving in anger at this point, and I made a stupid mistake, as you'll see in a moment. As we go in towards the chicane, you need to take a lot of curb here, but I took a little bit too much curb and cut the corner and got my lap invalidated. I stayed out though, and I wanted to finish the lap to get a delta time, because that way we've got an idea of something to aim for on our next run, which is going to be this one here. And my final lap in the session with 15 seconds to go. We're going to cross the line. We're going to be the last car to do so, I think so, on an actual time lap. So here we go then. Let's see what we can do on this lap, and can we pull something out of the bag, because it's been very close between myself and Kubica all weekend long. As we go to turn 1, braking at the 100 metre board, you want to try and take a big chunk of that inside curb. I actually trail brake at the turn 1, which isn't my preferred method. It's actually quite risky. Somehow though we made it work. I actually gained a heap of time, a real big chunk of time there, but I think I could have gained more had I just got a nice smooth run through the first chicane, but still very good nonetheless, as we're only pretty much a tenth of a second down on Hamilton, to be fair. So overall, good first sector as we now throw the car into the chicane, this time not cutting the inside curb, and on the powers we now throw the car into the first of the 2 Lesmos here, keeping it nice and tight through the first one, letting it run out wide onto the curb to get the best line through there, and then the second one exactly the same, taking a big chunk of inside curb and then let the car run wide onto the curb and maximise your exit. As we now go onto the back straight, using some overtake ERS to try and really hit that top speed trap, and now braking for Ascari at the 100 metre board down to 5th gear, and focus on your exit here. Try and keep it flat over this left kink if possible, over the curb. Don't run too wide there, otherwise you will get an invalidation. And then a little bit more overtake mode on the exit as we now race down towards Parabolica, and you're looking at the 50 metre board as your reference here, down 3 gears, and I actually go down to 4th, surprisingly. In hindsight I wish I kept it in 5th. I think I could have got away with it and had a better exit and had more speed out the corner as we now run overtake up to the line. And let's see what the lap does. Is it enough to get us out of Q1? It is not, unfortunately. We just miss out. Very close from myself all the way up to Nico Hulkenberg in 8th place. It was awfully close. Kubica actually got P17, so he managed to beat our teammate, and he's been quicker than me all weekend by just a fraction in every session. So I'm happy I beat my teammate, but seeing how close Q2 was, that was kind of annoying. So close. A 10th covering 8 cars. Extremely close qualifying. One of the closest ones I've had all season long. But guys, that is going to be it for this qualifying session here at Monza. And overall, I really enjoyed it. But now we're going to move into the race with a chance of rain for round 14 of the season for the Italian Grand Prix.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Räikkönen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The fence starts from pole position and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Perez, Max Verstappen and Gasly, Stroll, Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Daniel Ricciardo. Grosjean, Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty. Kimi Räikkönen and Norris, Sainz, Martinez, Robert Kubica and Daniel Kvyat. Giovinazzi and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Right, here we are then for the race here at the Italian Grand Prix, and we start from P16. Overall, a decent qualifying yesterday, very happy with it, and I believe we pretty much extracted the maximum from the car. Like I said, I think Q2 could have been possible, maybe if we turned up to overtake a little bit early at the final corner, but other than that, it was a good lap, and I feel like I really, got the maximum out of the car. Now, in terms of the race here today, it could be quite interesting because I've always got better race pace than qualifying pace, and ultimately around here, even if you don't have a good car, you can still compete because the slipstream is key. Now, we have struggled for straight line speed in the past races, but I feel like for this one, we've done some sacrifices to the aerodynamics and it's paid off. And we've got an interesting race on our hands because it's not going to be dry all the way through. There is a chance of rain towards the end. So we're going to start the race on the medium tyres, I think. I have been weighing this up and I've been trying to decide what I'm going to go for. And I'm going to go for the mediums. And I think that might be the best call. I could run double softs and that could work. But you just don't know if that rain's going to arrive. Before in the past, I've seen rain that hasn't arrived with one icon at the end. And I've also seen rain that's arrived halfway through the race with one icon. So I can't quite judge it. So I'm going to just have a durable tyre and play it safe. And I can kind of adapt and adjust if I need to, nearer to the time. But for now, we're going to start the race in the mediums and go into the softs at the end. I'm expecting this to remain dry and we're not going to get onto the inters this race. That's what I'm expecting. In terms of the fuel, we're going to run 1.5 extra on the fuel, so a little bit higher than usual because this is a power circuit. You go through fuel a lot quicker, so you're going to need a little bit more in the tank just to be sure, so you can attack and defend accordingly. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, the slipstream is key around here, so we've got to try and pick our battles and be very wise and very patient with our overtaking and only make the moves where we're 100% certain we're going to make them and actually pull away from the car behind. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I always like Monza. It's always a bit of a not carnage, but it's always constant overtaking and it's always exciting. But guys, that is it for the intro. We're now going to move into the race here for round 14 of the season for the Italian Grand Prix. Right, here we go. Let's build up the revs here and get ready for the 5 red lights at the temple of speed. Lights out, and away we go. Struggled for a bit of traction there. Quite a bit of wheel spin and oversteer on the start. We're going to hold the inside though. Down the inside, we're going to make up a few positions and recover after that poor getaway. Seems like everybody's on soft tyres. And no one's on mediums from what I can tell, which could be an indication as to where this race could be going with the weather conditions. We've got a nice time on Sainz here. Sainz ain't really close enough to the cars in front for a slipstream. We're going to go to the outside. Late on the brakes. Around the outside of the McLaren. And we're going to pick up that move. And that position, very nice, up to P15. Lando Norris in front with, I believe that's an Alfa Romeo in front. But yeah, it seems like everyone's running soft tyres here, no medium runners. So we could be in trouble here for this first part of the race. We might be struggling. And Sainz is trying to get a slipstream here, but look at us, we're actually pulling away a little bit. Oh, you know, albeit with overtake mode, but still pulling away, which is something we haven't seen much this season. We've struggled for straight line speed so much this year. But it's good to see the improvements here at Monza and how the car's performing. We need to stay within the slipstream though. It's so critical to not lose the toe. Sainz is gaining on me here into Parabolica. We need to try and follow the cars in front. Lap 1 draws to a close. Here comes Sainz. We're going to go to the inside and show him the long way around. Well, he doesn't quite commit to the move, and actually Kubica now is trying to look for a move here. Covering the inside still. And Sainz goes for the outside line. Got to brake early on the brakes just to be careful. We're going to just get Sainz.
We're monitoring somewhere on the ICE. Be aware that we will start to see a loss of power.
Yeah, you can see the ICE, that's the most worn engine part. MGUH also 54% and turbocharger 56%. But this is the last of the stress circuits for the engine, and then we'll go to Singapore next, so we just need to get through this race. As we're right on the back of Lando Norris here. He's had a poor exit out of the chicane, going for the Lesmos now. We're not going to challenge because we need to be smart in the way we go about our business, although having said that, Sainz goes down the inside of the second Lesmo and makes the move. I'm going to get swamped here, I need to try and respond. I've got to turn the engine up. I've got to box my own teammate in for my benefit. Into Ascari. We're going to just squeeze Kubica there. I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that, but I had to take the racing line because otherwise we're going to be in big trouble. I've got to keep up with Sainz here. I can't lose the slipstream. Very important to stay within range, especially with DRS now coming online soon. Intense start to the race already, and you can see we're struggling a bit on the slower tyre as expected, but hopefully we will come into this race later on.
DRS is now enabled and will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
This is why I put all the extra fuel in at the start, because we're going to need it, especially now in this start phase. We're going to use most of our fuel, I think, in this stint, because we're going to have to use it to defend. Once I get to the race and I start getting my traction zones, you know, spot on, I think we'll be okay. But for now, we're just trying to weather the storm because the soft tyre is still the much better tyre to race on. Looks like Sainz and Norris having a little bit of a scuffle there at the final corner, losing a bit of time and losing the slipstream to the cars in front. We need to get reconnected to that train in front. DRS is enabled, but Kubica's not really doing much damage at the moment, which is good. We can hold station. Again, the straight line speed and the aerodynamic adjustments on the setup this weekend so far really paying off as Norris and Sainz go side by side here. This is my chance to catch up as former teammates, do battle here at Monza. This battle's getting tasty. Sainz gets a poor exit. We're not going to overtake him here, we're just going to sit behind, but I want to be close to put him offline a bit as we go for the Lesmos. But now we're within DRS, so that's going to take some pressure off from behind, which is good. I won't have to use rich mix now, I don't think. Hopefully we can reconnect to the train in front, because you can see how big it is and everyone's in there. As Sainz goes for a move into a sky, we're going to brake early just to avoid running into the back of somebody at high speed. Sainz getting back past Norris here. These guys are battling quite heavily here, which is not ideal for our races. Here comes Kubica. We're going to have to go defensive and in the process go down the inside into Parabolica of 2 cars, 3 wide. Got to be careful. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to commit to the overtake as we get past both of them. We're going to get DRS. I'm going to keep it in rich mix and overtake to try and stay in front, and there we go. Look at it behind. Oh my god, it's like 3 wide and then 3 wide behind that. Jesus. That's the craziness of Monza for you. But because they're 3 wide, that might give me the chance to pull away here and break DRS possibly. Let's have a little bit of an intense lap here. Let's try and push a bit and see if we can open up a gap. I think we've already got a decent gap. That's Kvyat and Kubica doing battle, but let's try and pull away some more. Okay, I think we've done it. We've got a nice gap behind. They're battling behind us quite heavily. Also in front as well, they're starting to battle quite heavily, which will give me the chance to now catch up as we're on for personal best pace here if we just keep this together. This is what I mean about Monza. If you're in the middle of the pack, it's better off to start the race on the mediums, because the AI are very condensed and losing a lot of time battling, so you're not going to get a clean run in. It's not going to be a very clean and efficient stint. It's going to be quite messy. So if you start the race on the softs, you're not going to get to fully maximise the stint, as we've got a yellow flag here. But on the mediums, you do get the chance to maximise the stint. Looks like the retirement's behind us. Let's see who it is. Lando Norris in the Haas. So misery there for the American team. Seems like no VSC is going to be triggered this time from that. We've had quite a few VSCs recently. Still yet to have a safety car, but we're really catching these guys in front now, big time, making fantastic progress. Let's keep going. They're battling really heavily here. We're gaining a heap of time. Now I've got to try and time this, so basically I've got to follow these guys, save a little bit of fuel in the DRS behind them using DRS, but also not lose too much time that ruins my race, and I need to pass them somehow and leave them behind like I did before. Again, this is where Monza's so tactical as a race. You can see in front the big train has started to break up a little bit. You've got a couple of different separations now. So again, everyone's split into their own groups. These guys in front are still battling away here, and we're really gaining on them. We're going to get the run here out of Ascari. Alright, let's try and time this. We're going to go to the right hand side of Ricardo here. We're going to try and sneak past and make a move on the Renault through Parabolica. A little bit of understeer there, and I've actually pushed Ricardo wide, but it is where it is. Getting dirty here from the cars in front doesn't help. As we're gaining on the straight here, on both cars in front. We're too far back, I think. Or actually, could we get the McLaren maybe? Not quite. We kind of moved a bit. Grosjean there. Now we've got to try and find the way past these guys. I know that McLaren is not too quick on the straight. I might have a chance here. As we get the speed for Curva Grande, we're going to go to the left-hand side. We're going to use the toe from Raikkonen to make the move. There we go. Raikkonen goes defensive for some reason, quite surprisingly, but we're going to now follow the Alfa Romeo here and use hopefully his DRS to make a pass. It seems like those soft tires are starting to go already, and we're starting to show some pace. Using every chance I can to save a bit of fuel in the RS. I might just wait a little bit and wait till the pit straight. Grosjean isn't going to challenge me, so I can definitely use this to save fuel in the RS. And just coast. Turn the engine up to standard, low ERS, just to stay in front of Grosjean. There we go, that's just enough. And now to Parabolica we go. Let's try and get past Kimi now. Turn the engine up. And now we get DRS. Here we go, we're gaining on the Alpha. Absolutely flying. Down the inside. As the battle begins in front. A little bit of oversteer there, mid-corner, but we catch it. And we're up to P11 now. More cars battling in front. And we've actually dropped Kimi as well. He's nowhere near me, so he's not going to put any pressure on. So again, a well-timed overtake there. P11. Okay, we'll over the back of Stroll here. I wonder if he's got car trouble, because he's going very slow. I'm in that perfect range where I can save fuel in the RS beautifully behind him. Might be able to pull off a double overtake here, because he's right behind the Haas. They're going very slow, really, really slow. I wonder if he's got wing damage. I think he's missing a front right end plate. Here we go then, let's try and make an overtake. 2 for 1 possibly. Can we get the Haas as well? Look at this, Williams here today, the straight line speed. We're going to go to the outside. Around the outside of Magnussen. Yes, there we go, what a move. Double overtake, executed to perfection. Magnussen though right at the back of me here, so we're going to have to turn the engine up and defend through Curva Grande, take a very shallow line, and there we go, that's going to make me pull away from him. Into the points we go. What a race so far, we're having a fantastic performance. The medium tyre proving to be the way to go as the soft tyre now fades. Seems like the AI are trying to stretch it to a one-stopper and go into the medium with the soft, and this is my chance now. These are the laps that I need to make progress. We've got 2 more cars in front. Verstappen and I think that's a Renault of Hulkenberg. Let's try and push on. We're not too far from the big boys here. I'll tell you what, if this race stays dry, I fancy us to get a good result here. And the points definitely have to be...
They're speeding up again, so I expect they fixed whatever the problem was.
That could be one of the cars behind, either way. Points are definitely on the table here today. We've got to take them, without a doubt. Okay, we've dropped Magnussen and Stroll. In front of us, Hulkenberg's been overtaken by Verstappen, so let's see if we can get in amongst it and maybe get past the Renault as we run a little bit hot there. Accidentally got my gears wrong, went in there with 5th gear instead of 4th, giving me some pretty bad understeer. The AR should start pitting this lap, I think, so we've got to push.
It seems they fixed whatever the problem was. They're coming back up to speed.
Okay, so there's quite a few cars then that were in trouble, it seems, which adds up because there's a Mercedes just up the road as well, and both Red Bulls are on this straight as the race leader pits in the Mercedes, whoever that may be. And also Perez is running in P3, I think, in the other racing point, or P4, I'm not quite sure, as cars pit in. Here we go. We're going to get a nice bit of clean air now to really work in as we stretch this stint. Looks like Hamilton's the one that pit, so he's looking comfortable to win this race, Lewis, as he does his pit stop and rejoins in front of us on medium tyres, right behind his teammate Bottas.
Robert is coming in for his stop. We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Just wanted to get an idea on the radio. Seems like 15 minutes. That's going to be close. I mean, it's going to be one of them ones. I think we're going to see the race out on dry tyres, but it's going to be very wet on the last lap kind of thing. Like, you could gamble for inches, I think. So let's see. Let's just keep pushing now and focus on our own race and on our strategy. We're going to commit to our original strategy of going onto the soft tyres. We're not going to change because those laps with the soft tyre are going to be so crucial for our race.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Oh, that changed quick. So I get a big handful of oversteer there. Obviously these tyres are starting to go now. The AR have done very well to stretch their soft this long. But we've got more cars in the pit lane here. And Stroll's done a good job of keeping up with me, although he's got a nice slipstream. And I think he might even have DRS. Yeah, he does. But everyone's going to pit in now, absolutely everybody. So we're going to briefly
The pit window, you'll be on the softs.
take P2 in this race, in the Italian Grand Prix. Fantastic. Starting to struggle on my tyres as Sebastian Vettel lines up behind for an overtake.
Okay, we don't think these tyres have much more to give. They're showing a fair amount of wear, and they're going to start causing you problems.
Let Sebastian go, we're not going to fight it.
We're going to box this lap, push hard on the in-lap.
And that's exactly why we're going to pit in this lap, so let's just do our thing, use the slipstream and try and keep a competitive pace.
Pit now, pit now.
Yeah, we're going to pit in now and go into the soft tyre, and we'll have a nice advantage. I think we're definitely scoring points here today unless something horrific happens. It's a question of how many can we score as we go now into the pit lane. There we go, nice and easy, slow down. I wasn't quite sure what the speed was, whether it was 80 or 60, so I was extra precautious there, but overall, a good entry. And onto nice, fresh, soft rubber, which I can't wait, as we've got a yellow flag there, actually, out of Ascari, as we come into the pit box. Come on, boys.
Complete, go now.
Fantastic, 1.8, just when you need it. A good stop from the boys. We're going to go down to P10, it seems.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
So Stroll managed to undercut us, but that's fine because now we've got the much better tyre. So we're P10, so we're at least scoring 1 point, but there's 2 cars I think we could definitely overtake in front of us on track, so let's get to work and let's try and hunt them down. P8 definitely on the cards here today. I'm feeling racy. Do I dare try and nick a fastest lap of the race? Is it possible? I might try and find out. I would have liked to have had DRS here, but let's use the slipstream. We're at perfect range. Let's see if we can try and pick up a purple lap. Good start. We might lose a bit of time through here though. Following Stroll. But we'll get DRS in the back straight. We've got to pass him here, so Let's get a good exit at the second Lesmo. There we go, that's good. DRS. Okay, we can do this. Let's try and pass him before the brake zone. As we power past the racing point. Oh, damn it, track extension. That's going to throw away.
Like rain is inbound, and we're expecting it in around 5 minutes. 5 minutes till the rain.
That's a shame. That's going to throw away my fastest lap attempt, I think. Sometimes I've seen it before where the lap does still count. Well, I guess we'll find out very shortly, even if it is the fastest lap or not. Stroll's right behind me though, so I've got to keep pushing. Across the line, is it enough?
We pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
It wasn't enough. As Stroll goes back down the inside at a racing point, stretching its legs and showing that it's still one of the top cars in the straight line, but we do defend quite nicely. Get a good exit as well. Let's try and catch up to Hulkenberg as we sit at 21.3 though, fantastic pace. Rain's 5 minutes away, so once we get past Hulkenberg we'll be okay, and that's the best we can do in terms of overtaking cars. Hulkenberg's got pretty good pace at the minute. We are catching, but not by a massive amount. Dare I say, I might try and just follow him for the rest of the lap to give me a chance to save up some fuel in the RS to pull away with. Because I don't really have much at the minute. I've used most of it trying to set the fast up for the race. So I might just keep the car in lean revs and low ERS mode for now until we get to the pit straight. Good chance to save up a little bit. Right then, let's make the overtake. A little bit of understeer there as we run a bit wide, a little bit far back at the minute. But I think we should have enough on the straight to get past the Renault. A little bit late to open up the RS here. Nico is definitely running a high engine mode. Around the outside. Hulkenberg covering the inside line. We're going to go side by side here with the Renault. I should have gone a bit later on the brakes, but side by side here. It's going to be a good old fashioned just drag race down to the next corner. I'm in low ERS mode, that's why I'm not really keeping up, but now we're going to go up to overtake. And there we go, we power past around the outside. Inside line for the chicane. And we make the move. See you later, in Hulkenberg's famous words. Up to 8th place now in this race. Hulkenberg right at the back of me here, he's not letting me go. I don't really have much ERS to play with. But it seems like Hulkenberg doesn't have a match either because he's not that quick on the straight. I think I'm okay here to keep the racing line into turn 1. Just brake extra late. And that's going to keep us in front of the Renault. Hopefully now this time we can try and pull away. Can't need Stroll to do me a favour and try and maybe go for an overtake on him and just to distract him a bit. But I think we're okay now as we use up the rest of our fuel in the RS pretty much. Oh, there we go, the rain's starting to fall. Okay, so it's earlier than I expected. As the rainfall begins here, the rain dance begins here in Monza. Let's see how this progresses. Let's see how bad the weather conditions get as Hulkenberg's really flying this time. He's got a fantastic run on me here. Into Ascari, we're going to hold the inside line. Let's be very mindful of the conditions now though.
There's 4 laps of fuel remaining.
And Hulkenberg got Stroll with him. Hopefully that will distract him for a little bit. Stroll and Hulkenberg are battling behind. And that's given me the chance now. I'm now out of a second. I've pulled away from DRS range. I'm using up the remaining of my excess fuel while I'm also running none to save the battery.
Of the conditions. The track is getting wetter. Recommend you stay out for now though. We'll be much slower if we move on to inters this early.
I just want to burn up the last bit of fuel just to lighten up the car as much as possible. And also I can run the switch mix and at the same time run none to have a reasonable straight line speed. We've definitely left the guys behind now. With that little bit of battling, we've timed that correctly. We've now pulled away from the slipstream, so overall job done. And it's going to be P8 now, bar an absolute miracle or something special happening. You've got both Red Bulls and a racing point in front of us. They're battling away, but I don't think anything's going to happen unless we go into inters and there's a roll of the dice somewhere. Track's getting a little bit more delicate now with 1.5 laps to go, but still nowhere near intermediates. The dry still have plenty of grip left. It's going to be a dry tyre finish, this one, like I expected. And luckily enough, we commit to that kind of strategy direction, so let's bring this one home. There we go then, Hamilton wins it at Monza. He wins yet again. Very dominant run from Lewis here. He's destroying Bottas in the last few races. And he's really going for that championship. As most cars cross the line. No more shocks or dramas it seems as we turn the engine down now, just to save a little bit of the power unit for the next race. But overall, a fantastic performance here today. Strategy, absolutely perfect. Racecraft, absolutely perfect. And we timed everything to perfection. and overall we deserve the points as we come home across the line in the Italian Grand Prix for 8th place. Overall, very happy with that one.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I could see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Right, so looking at the final race results here for the Italian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton wins once again. I think that's 4 on the spin for him now, and he is in incredible form. Sebastian Vettel P2 for Ferrari, they'll be happy with that one. With Valtteri Bottas P3, Sebastian Vettel splitting the Mercs, and had it not been for Bottas, we would have actually got the first up of the race. We missed out by a tenth and a half, so we're a bit unlucky there because we was faster than Lewis, Sebastian and Leclerc, so we could have actually got that point. I think had the lap been a bit smoother and a little bit cleaner, I think we could have actually picked it up. But yeah, Bottas picks up the extra point for the fastest lap. Charles Leclerc P4 from P12 on the grid. Good recovery from him in the other Ferrari. Then we've got Max Verstappen P5 in the first of the Red Bulls ahead of Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly. Sergio Perez splitting the Red Bulls here at Monza. We come home in 8th place from P16 on the grid. Absolutely fantastic performance, and like I said, almost picking up the fast lap of the race. And then we beat Hulkenberg and Stroll to those points with Grosjean and Kvyat and Giovinazzi, along with Ricciardo, Sainz, Raikkonen, Kubica, Alexander Albon and also Magnussen missing out on the points here today. Lando Norris the sole DNF of the day in the Haas, and overall a miserable day for the American team, finishing bottom of the table. And yeah, in terms of the standings after that race, guys, we gained 4 points and we closed the gap to Hulkenberg, and we're now on 22 points this season. Hamilton is 88 points clear at the top of the table, 134 clear of Leclerc and 152 clear of Sebastian Vettel. Hamilton is dominating. In terms of the constructors, Mercedes are also dominating as they are nearly 200 points clear of the prancing horses, and we gained some points and we extended our lead over Toro Rosso, and we're 13 points behind Renault, so hopefully we can catch them a little bit and close that gap in the next couple of races. But we're now going to move into the laptop, guys, and put on potentially what could be our last upgrades of the season, because I've heard rumblings there could be an R&D change next season or an R&D reset, so let's see how that one pans out. But let's jump to the laptop and let's see what we can upgrade.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret? The weather was miserable today, but do you feel this was an advantage for you? Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so here we are then on the laptop, and straight away, good news, we've hit our team goal of 8 practice programs. We've done 10 out of the 8, as you can see on the team goal there, so we've got an extra 600 points to spend, which brings us to pretty much 2,000 points, and straight away we're going to invest in the failed engine upgrade. You can see Mercedes, they brought a massive engine upgrade for this one, and they've really pulled away. I'm going to probably add to that, actually. I'm going to go for a fuel consumption upgrade to improve our fuel efficiency, and then also we're going to work on some aerodynamic work. We're going to do this rear downforce upgrade, which is also important to match up and balance it out with the front downforce. And then we've got 486 points left over, and I don't think we can afford another upgrade, unfortunately, with that. So we're just going to save those points, because I've got a feeling we're going to have a regulation change in the next episode. So I'm going to save those points. I'm going to invest those as we start to protect parts. Apparently the chassis is going to be the part of the car that gets affected, so that could be quite interesting, because this part of the car is probably one of our weakest, if not our weakest part. So if we protect our current upgrades straight away and keep on pushing the chassis for the rest of the season in terms of upgrades, we could really turn this around going to the next season. It could be a massive opportunity for us to really get the jump on our rivals. But we'll see how it see how it goes, and judge it as it goes along, because I do want to invest also in these upgrades here, which is for department quality control and also efficiency going forward, and also plenty of durability work as well going into next season, so that we have a nice solid base to work on. But guys, in terms of upgrades, you can see on screen we should get very, very close to Alfa Romeo with these 3 upgrades, hopefully in the next episode. One of them is going to definitely arrive. The question is, will the other 2 arrive and hopefully not fail? We've had quite a few failures lately, so fingers crossed they all arrive, and we'll be very close to Alpha going into Singapore. And those 3 upgrades could be our very last performance upgrades this season, depending on the regulation change, and seeing where we are. We might be able to afford some upgrades later on in the season, but for now, that's going to be it probably. We're going to focus on some reliability and also some overall efficiency with the car, seeing as we have made it now to the midfield, and those upgrades should hopefully help us just close that gap a little bit to the cars in front. But guys, that is going to be it for this episode of Career Mode, and if you did enjoy it, drop a like on the video, and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn notifications so not miss any videos from me, guys. And also finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next episode very soon, but until then, it's goodbye from me.